What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:42 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the US. So, hacker groups from China hacked the U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration due to a vulnerability in the SharePoint program used by the agency. So, if you're not aware, the National Nuclear Security Administration is the U.S. government agency responsible for custody of our nuclear weapons stockpile. They keep track of inventory, and when nukes are shipped between different bases, the National Nuclear Security Administration keeps track of the inventories at different bases to make sure that a nuke doesn't go missing. Okay, that's their main job, to make sure that nukes don't go missing. And so the Chinese hacked this agency. Okay, so depending on what kind of information the Chinese hackers obtained, it's possible they may know the inventory levels of our nuclear weapons in different bases and recent movement of nuclear weapons. Hackers sponsored by the Chinese state have breached a number of U.S. government institutions, including the agency responsible for overseeing the security of America's nuclear arsenal, according to a report. At least two cyber warfare groups, Linen Typhoon and Violet Typhoon, have exploited weaknesses in Microsoft's SharePoint software to break into the U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration, a source told Bloomberg, with other with other targets including the Department of Education, the Florida Department of Revenue, and the Rhode Island General Assembly. Microsoft says it is investigating the breaches and that it has high confidence those responsible will continue to integrate these vulnerabilities into their attacks, with others reported against government entities in Canada, Brazil, Spain, Indonesia, South Africa, the United Kingdom, and Switzerland. China's embassy in Washington denies any involvement in the hacks, describing the allegations as unfounded speculation and adding it firmly opposes smearing others without solid evidence. And we're also hearing hackers breached the CIA. Apparently, they breached the CIA's Acquisition Research Center, exposing sensitive technology and data, including the Digital Hammer program, the National Reconnaissance Office confirmed. Federal investigators are probing the incident, which follows a recent Chinese hack of the U.S. nuclear agency. So, guys, this is extremely serious. And this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on very high alert. We have a presidential doomsday plane airborne over Offutt Air Base in Nebraska. We also have a nuke sniffer up in the air over Wyoming and South Dakota right now, which is very, very unusual. And we also had two B-52 nuclear bombers airborne over Oklahoma and Louisiana. So something is going on for there to be all of this activity, including a nuke sniffer flying over the Intermountain West and the Northern Plains. Very unusual. And earlier today, a C-17 with the 4th Airlift Squadron, which is based at Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington and operates as the U.S. Air Force's prime nuclear airlift force, landed at RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk, England, after departing from the Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. This is the second flight by the 4th Airlift Squadron between Kirtland and Lakenheath in the past week, with this flight similar to the first, likely carrying B-61 tactical nuclear bombs meant for the F-35 Lightnings stationed at RAF Lakenheath. Okay, so this is the second nuclear airlift flight from the U.S. Air Force's nuclear weapons stockpile in New Mexico to New England. Okay, this is extremely serious. The U.S. has now basically reactivated their nuclear bombing fighter squadrons in the UK, the 493rd Squadron in Lakenheath, operated by the U.S., which is a squadron of F-35s, is capable of delivering these B-61s. And interestingly, today, the 493rd Squadron in the UK released these new pins, which one of them shows a mushroom cloud, and then another one shows this B-61 being dropped from the air, and it says 493 Fighter Generation Squadron, and there's a Grim Reaper dropping a B-61, and it says prepare to meet thy maker. Okay, so all of you trolls out there that were saying that, oh, what's your source, well, 2 nuclear airlift flights from New Mexico to the UK. If that doesn't mean we're moving something to the UK, I don't know what source you need. Okay, you're not going to have the U.S. military come out and openly say, yeah, we just moved all these bombs to the UK. It's not going to happen. They're going to keep it secret for a while. Okay. And fierce fighting erupted along the Thailand-Cambodia border overnight last night, with deadly clashes reported in 6 disputed areas. Artillery and airstrikes were exchanged after a Thai soldier was injured by a landmine near the frontier. Thailand blames Cambodia for laying new mines, a claim that Cambodia denies. At least 11 people have been reported killed, mostly civilians. So Cambodia and Thailand are at war right now. Okay, they're exchanging artillery strikes. In a statement released yesterday, Cambodian Ministry of National Defense accused Thailand of deploying an excessive number of troops using heavy weapons and carrying out airstrikes in an attempt to forcibly seize territory that is considered by the Cambodian government as theirs, describing Thailand's actions as brutal and illegal military aggression and a blatant violation of the UN Charter. Ministry spokeswoman Molly Sachita further added, these unlawful and irresponsible actions not only pose a grave threat to regional peace and stability, but also undermine the foundation of international order, with the ministry statement ending by claiming that the military was fully prepared to defend the sovereignty of Cambodia at all costs. So Cambodia is acting like the victim, but actually Cambodia is the one that shelled civilian areas in Thailand with Grad rockets, okay? And Cambodia is a communist country that is really close to China and Russia. Okay, Cambodia is still communist, okay? And if you ever heard of Pol Pot was very famous socialist, communist, Marxist that came out of Cambodia, okay? So Cambodia is still a hardcore communist country like North Korea, China, and Russia, okay? It's part of that whole group of communist countries there. Thailand is not. And the Thailand Air Force deployed 6 F-16 fighter jets and destroyed 2 Cambodian military installations. The Thai Army released a statement regarding the recent border clashes, condemning Cambodian rocket attacks on Thailand. They stated that 2 BM-21 Grad rockets impacted a civilian area in the Kapchung district in the Surin province. Cambodian rockets also struck a gas station, resulting in a large fire breaking out. And they also hit a hospital as well. Okay, so Cambodian forces are going after civilians. Doesn't that sound similar to what Russia does in Ukraine? Okay, so obviously there's probably Russian military advisors working in Cambodia, probably Wagner. And we're hearing that between 30 and 40,000 people from 86 villages along the border of Cambodia and Thailand have been evacuated for safer locations. So they're evacuating the entire border with Cambodia. They're also closing down their entire border with Cambodia. And the Cambodian government downgraded diplomatic relations with Thailand to the lowest level following similar moves by the Thailand government. And the Thai education minister ordered the closure of all schools along the border. And the Thai embassy in Phnom Penh, that's the capital of Cambodia, is urging Thai nationals to leave Cambodia amid the border clashes. In a Facebook post, the embassy said that Thai citizens in Cambodia should leave as soon as possible. And Thailand's health ministry issued an evacuation order for all civilians from hospitals along the Thai-Cambodia border. The hospital's primary use will be for military personnel now. Okay, so very interesting. And yesterday, Ukraine targeted a fuel depot at the Sochi International Airport in Russia with drones. And they also targeted a key railway hub in the city of Adler in Abkhazia, which was formerly Georgian territory annexed by Russia. And Marco Rubio reportedly pressured Trump to take a tougher stance on Russia, China, Iran, and Venezuela, according to the Financial Times. And a Russian passenger plane with about 50 people on board has gone missing in the Russian Far East. The cause of the crash is not being released yet by the Russian government, but they did find the plane, actually, the wreckage in the Amur region. And the first Patriot missiles promised by Trump to Ukraine won't arrive until spring of 2026. German newspaper Der Spiegel is saying it will take until spring of 2026 before Germany can transfer their Patriot missiles to Ukraine. And Russia commissioned a new nuclear-armed submarine for their nuclear triad, the Knyaz Pozharsky. Putin was present at the commissioning ceremony. He landed at the airport in Arkhangelsk and drove directly to Severodvinsk, the shipyard town on the shores of the White Sea. Putin said at the ceremony that the priority here is first of all the construction of strategic missile submarines, one of the most important components of our nuclear triad, which I repeat allows Russia to maintain the balance of power in the world, Putin said. The Knyaz Pozharsky is the 8th in a row of 4th-generation ballistic missile submarines operated by Russia and the 3rd to set sail for the Northern Fleet. Putin promised more of the same will come. So these are Bore-class submarines, guys. Okay, that's Russia's newest nuclear-armed submarine, the Bore-class sub. So this is the 8th Bore-class sub. And they have several Delta IV class subs that they still operate, but they're replacing the Delta IVs with the Bores. So they plan to build several more, I think up to 16, which is basically the same amount that we have. And Germany aims to recruit up to 40,000 18-year-olds annually for voluntary military service by 2031. Offering flexible terms and attractive pay to strengthen its armed forces amid rising security concerns. The goal is to expand the German professional army to 260,000 active duty troops and reserves to 200,000 by 2035 as part of NATO's push to deter Russian aggression. That is still not enough, guys. Okay, 260,000 active duty professional troops is way too little. And the IMF sharply criticized Ukraine's new law that weakens the independence of anti-corruption agencies, warning it could harm economic stability and growth. Zelensky signed the bill despite protests from civil society and warnings from Western allies. The IMF says the move neutralizes the effectiveness of key institutions vital to Ukraine's reform agenda. And the new Turkish ballistic missile, the Typhoon 4, can reportedly reach all of Israel if it's placed in southern Turkey. So looks like it's setting the stage for the Gog-Magog war, where Turkey, Russia, Iran, Sudan, and other Middle Eastern Muslim countries unite to attack Israel. And Iran's Atomic Energy Organization spokesman said Iran's nuclear industry has deep roots and is developing once again. And Iran's foreign minister stated that Iran will defend its nuclear rights, including uranium enrichment, during talks with European leaders on Friday, according to state media. He also said that Iran's positions remain strong and that uranium enrichment will continue. Wow. Okay, so Iran is continuing to say that they're going to continue enriching uranium. They're not going to stop. And the European Union is saying that the Israeli parliament's approval of annexing the West Bank is illegal and a two-state solution must be pursued. And the Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said that if hostages are not released soon by Hamas, the gates of hell will open. And the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he will hold an emergency call with France and Germany on Friday to discuss stopping the violence in Gaza, adding that we all agree on the urgent need for Israel to change course and allow more aid into Gaza. And the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "We will not stand by and watch what is happening to our brothers in Soweto. We must demilitarize the area south of Damascus and protect the Druze." So he's talking about the tribal warfare in southern Syria. He's saying that Israel cannot stand by and allow the Druze to be attacked by other Arab tribes and by the Syrian government. Okay, so Netanyahu doubling down on protecting the Druze in southern Syria. And the U.S. State Department called for an immediate investigation into the death of a U.S. citizen in Syria recently during fighting with the Arab tribes and Druze. And explosions were heard at a weapons depot in Yemen's Al Anad military base. And Macron announced that France will recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly in September. And Tesla stock dropped 8.5% today after the company warned that Trump's trade policies and stance against electric vehicles could hurt its revenue. The decline follows a 20% drop in Tesla's Q2 profits and a continued sell-off, with shares down about 35% since December highs. And here we have some footage coming out of Cambodia. Here's Cambodia launching a whole bunch of rockets into Thailand recently. Wow, absolutely insane. And then here's some footage of the Thailand military launching rockets at Cambodia.
หมู่สองสลักฐานกระสุนระเบิดจุดจุด M119 หมู่ทิศ3117มุมยิง454นัดที่1หมู่2พร้อมหมู่2ครับ2พร้อมมุมยิงหมู่ทิศ3117
But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with a live update. Tune into my 24/7 live stream for continuing coverage. Consider joining my Patreon or becoming a silver member on YouTube so you can get access to extra content, including text format news updates, which I started doing about a week ago. So if you don't have time to watch these entire videos, I can summarize the news for you in text format, and that's only for silver members on YouTube and Patreon. And I'm going to be expanding my content on Patreon and also for the YouTube members, so stay tuned for that in the coming months. But until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.